My name's Hilary, and our son Bennett was born February 22nd, 2019 at 1:03 p.m. via C-section. Our pregnancy journey started after we got married. We decided we'd be open to the idea of having a baby. We didn't really try, but we weren't not trying either, just to see how things go. I always assumed that I would have difficulty getting pregnant, even though I didn't have really a medical reason to think that. So I didn't want to wait too long. And sure enough, 2 months after we decided we were open to it, we got pregnant. And shortly thereafter, we lost that pregnancy via a miscarriage. It took 6 months for my body to recover from that. There was a lot of anxiety, but as soon as my body came back and I got my regular periods again, then I got pregnant again, and that's how now I have my son. This experience has affected my life in the most positive way because I have my son now. I've learned to appreciate my body. I've always been somewhat self-conscious. When I got pregnant, I was worried about what it's going to do to my body, and through this experience, I learned that doesn't really matter. I have my son, everything else is fine, and I don't worry about that stuff anymore. My experience with a miscarriage definitely made it harder for me to feel attachment to other things after it happened. When I got pregnant again, I was excited, but I didn't feel it was real. I didn't feel attached to the pregnancy at all. It wasn't until I found out the gender that I started even feeling any attachment to the baby, and it wasn't until he was born that I felt any love towards the baby. And I don't know if that was going to happen either way, but I feel strongly that happened because the first pregnancy ended badly, and so I was afraid to love the baby before I knew he was here. I think it's affected my life since too, because now, even though he's here, I thought that worry would go away, and now I'm just paranoid something's still going to get him, for lack of a better word. I'm scared of everything, and maybe that's just a natural mother's instinct, but I'm just so scared that I'm going to lose him still. When I was getting my blood taken, as I was going through the miscarriage and they were monitoring me, one of the nurses told me to trust my body, and that really hit home for me, as maybe it wasn't meant to be. And I know that saying isn't going to work for everyone. Everybody handles a miscarriage differently, but for me personally, that trust your body line really made me stop and think that, it's going to happen. It's just, for whatever reason, this one wasn't the right pregnancy. Because of the miscarriage, my first reaction when I found out I was pregnant was fear, excitement, but also just nervousness, and it never felt real, like I said, until about the 20-week mark when I found out the gender. I knew I was pregnant and I was treating myself like I was pregnant, but it didn't feel like I was pregnant. My favorite thing about being pregnant was nobody would tell me to put down the chocolate ice cream. The worst thing about being pregnant for me was my lack of identity outside of the pregnancy. I know everyone was well-intentioned, but the baby took over my conversations. Nobody really asked me about my accomplishments in life anymore. It was more about how's the baby doing, which is great, but I also want to be recognized as myself and not just someone who's pregnant. I told people flat out, I was pretty blunt and polite when I could be, that, oh, I got a promotion at work, this happened in my life, and I would just direct the conversation kind of where I wanted it to go. And if people continued, I would just tell them, look, I appreciate your excitement, but there's other things going on in my life as well. The emotions hit me the second I heard him cry. Since he was born via C-section, I still had this sense of is everything going to be okay? And the moment I heard him cry, I just burst into tears. So I couldn't really see him because I was on my back getting operated on, and my eyes were just full of water. They brought him over and they held him to my cheek, and that's just a sense of calm came over me. And we sat there for about 30 minutes while they stitched me up from the C-section, and it was just pure joy. The advice I want to pass down to Bennett is just about being loving and being a kind person. It might sound a little bit cliche, but I want him to be empathetic. I want him to be kind. I want him to be giving and loving, and to know what those things are through myself and my husband.